How's it going, everyone? I apologize. I had one thing that just came up on my phone that I really should deal with. I need to hide a hacker guy from my page. So hopefully you guys are all doing well. Definitely a tough week in the market. Some stuff that I want to hit on, and I recorded a video for tomorrow. I'm happy to go through all comments too. I'm doing half an hour with you guys, and then some other people I wanted to get in a live stream too. So I just opened it up to everyone after the initial half hour. We always do half an hour here, but then I thought I'd open it up for everyone just to give them a couple minutes too, because it was a really tough week in the market. So I wanted to open it up to everyone after we do our initial thing, because you guys definitely deserve to be in the smaller group here, because that's part of the Patreon tier. So I'd love to talk with you guys too. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. I'll hit on all the questions that you guys have, but I wanted to show you a couple stocks I'm looking at and that kind of had some news. I just put up a video and a couple of these are included in it, but there's a video that I'm putting up tomorrow on some of these stocks and kind of I think they're pretty good valuations right now, at least compared to where they've been. And of course, there are 6 stocks I'll talk about here, 5 or 6, and any of them could do poorly. I mean, I'm talking about 6 stocks. So like, I'm not saying that they won't get hit hard in the future too. Yeah. Peter, how you doing? Whole is one of them. So yeah, that's one of the ones I want to talk about, because there's been a lot of news and a lot of people haven't seen it because either it was late on the day Friday, or there's just been a lot of things that have been covered up because of everything that's happening in the market. It's been hard to keep on top of everything. Usually everyone's just talking about all the stocks that are booming and there's not as much fear. So there's a lot less noise usually than what we had this week. Now, I just want to show you, let me make sure that I have this all up here and I don't have anything private up. Let me just pull this last one up. So anyone that's been looking for deals probably has found a couple this week, because obviously there have been a lot of stocks that have been hit hard. One of which I was really excited to get into. And again, feel free to leave comments too, but I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see it. I was really excited to get into GHVI this week. I know some people weren't able to get into it, and it had a couple crashes pretty quickly, but I was able to pick up, I don't remember how much and when, but I think it was in this, was it the 16, something like that. We had a couple flash crashes, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but it seemed like every single day around 9:30 to 10, mostly 10 to 10:30 actually, in the morning, we saw big drops. Like Tuesday, we saw a big drop. Let's see. On Wednesday, did we see a big drop? Yeah, we saw a drop right around 10:30. Now, I don't know if there's any real reason for this. We also saw it at the end of the day on Wednesday, which kind of sucked. But then same thing on Thursday, we saw a drop there, and then it just kept on falling. And then on Friday, we also saw a drop, 10:30 dropped. And this is just GHVI, but the whole market seemed to kind of follow this. Now, I like this one long term. They're merging with Matterport. They did the CEO and founder did an interview with Meet Kevin, and they had so much going for them. They have so many industries they can get into. If you don't know, they scan buildings. So you can put like their Matterport camera or something, and they have a mobile app too. I think you can use it with your cell phone, and it scans different rooms. So it creates 3D models, and you can use it for a variety of things, either whether you're real estate investing out of state and you just need to see a property, but you can't go to it in person, or for insurance, right? So if you're insuring a home or something, you can see everything that's in it. You can see the condition that it's in. You can have that for rentals. If you're leasing it out or renting out your home to someone else, you can see exactly how everything is. So instead of giving those like forms before you sign up for apartments where they have to go around and check everything off, you could just do this. It'd be much simpler. You could also do it for other industries too. So there's just a lot of different places that this can get into. And I really think this is one that if we didn't see a red week this week, this would have been a high 20s to $30 stock. And we just didn't see it. We also have ACIC. Now, this one's been beaten down a good amount, but it went up 10% after market hours. And I think this is mostly because ARK Invest bought a significant amount, but it started to move up before that. I don't think ARK talks about what they're buying until 6:30 to 7. I'm assuming that's when this bump was, and I don't have it pulled up on my phone, the email, but we started to see it move up a little bit, and it jumped up. ARK Invest bought about 600,000 shares of Atlas Crest Investment, so they've been adding more. And this is a vertical helicopter company. It is supposed to be like the Uber of the air. We also have Hull, and I should just make sure that you guys can actually hear me. Want to make sure. Yeah, okay, sweet. Just wanted to make sure that a lot of people weren't saying that something was going wrong. But we have Hull, which is Holicity merging with Astra, a company that just got the announcement that they won an $8 million NASA contract. Now, I mentioned it in the Discord. I also mentioned it in my video for today and tomorrow. We've been buying this one. I don't remember when we got into this one exactly, but they already have 5 different government entities that they work with. They have 100 different satellite launches in their backlog right now. And this is one that already works with government entities. They're in a growing field. They're sitting around $15. They've been beaten down a little bit just this week because we saw them a little bit higher recently. They were in the 20s, and now they're sitting around 14, 15, 16, especially when you talk about companies in the sector. They're launching small satellites. You don't see a lot of companies. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know the sector really in detail, right? But I don't think you see a lot of companies that have multiple government entities that they work with that are launching satellites. They're trying to do this at scale. So they're trying to make it very simple and very quick for different companies to launch this. So it's going to be like, it's like the Amazon Prime, right? It's just going to deliver this to you real quick, help you send it up, and then they will hopefully move on to the next one. So really interesting business model. And it's getting some publicity now because of that NASA contract. I still think it's a good value if you're looking long-term. Now, CleanSpark is one that hasn't moved up with the general market as much. So when Bitcoin moves up, CleanSpark typically moves up, but not as much as like Riot, Mara, all these other Bitcoin mining plays. And I know I get it all the time where someone says, okay, there's this company though that has more exposure to Bitcoin or is cheaper or something like that compared to CLSK, which I get. There are a ton of companies, right? There's always going to be one that's cheaper, especially when they're fluctuating so much in price every day. But CLSK also has their core business, which is the grid. I was interested in this before they even closed on their Bitcoin mining company because they were in the grid space. The grid space was getting a lot of publicity. Now, they're in a lawsuit back and forth. I don't know. Like if you ask me, is it going to be bad for them? I don't know. I don't know if the short sellers had any leg to stand on with their argument. I've talked to CLSK insiders, like people in the company's CEO, and he said that they're not really selling. No one is selling. A lot of them are picking up shares. A lot of them are excited. A lot of them say that's just BS what got brought up, and they don't think it holds any shred of evidence or anything like that. And they're countersuing too. But they finished this acquisition of Solar Watt Solutions, and this is going to help them with their residential side of their business for their energy storage. Now, they're expecting, and again, this is one of those things that got thrown under the rug. Not too many people were paying attention. 20 million in revenue over the next 12 to 18 months from this company that they picked up. So I don't know if they'll actually be able to do that. These are pretty high estimates because they're expecting 20 million from their fundamental business. They're expecting now maybe another 20 million from this. And then if you start doing the math on what they're Bitcoin mining with the addition of their new Bitcoin mining units with Bitcoin, let's just say at 50,000, that might be another 40 million or so from the Bitcoin mining side. So based on what they're talking about today, they might hit 80 million in revenue. Now they had 2.2 million in revenue last quarter, but that was before the Bitcoin mining that really sped up because they only own the company for 3 weeks of the fourth quarter. So if what they're saying is right and they're going to add this, they're sitting right around market cap under $600 million. So if they start getting 80 million in revenue, a lot of people are going to be paying attention to this, but there is risk there, remember, because of the lawsuit. Maybe they come in under, or maybe they say, okay, we actually meant that we're going to have 20 million from just the total energy side of their business instead of 20 million from this and 20 million from the other. But they say here they already added $10 million worth of executed contracts to their backlog. So that's something to take a look at too. Just another stock that's been beaten down this week. When you look at the 1 month, this was up in the high 30s. 6 month, it was up even higher. It was in the 40s. So it's down 40% right now. Then there's also, if you guys are interested, I have to throw it in here, BlockFi too. If you guys want this, they pay an interest rate and they give you a bonus on your crypto. Just wanted to say that too, because with Bitcoin and Ethereum dropping, it's interesting because MicroStrategy bought another $1 billion of Bitcoin just a few days ago. Square bought $170 million worth of Bitcoin. And then the last stock that I want to talk about before talking about some stuff that you guys want to talk about is SBE. I made this video yesterday. I told you guys about it. When it hit 28 or 28.50, just seemed like a steal, right? Because we saw it go almost down to 28. I think it hit just 28, then pop back up. But this is the lowest it's been in 3 months. This is just, I think it's a good value if you're looking long term, right? Anything can happen short term, but if you're looking years down the line, this company owns the market in the US for charging, right? They just announced too that they will close their business transaction, the SPAC transaction with ChargePoint. That's coming here soon too. They expect the ticker to change on Monday. So keep an eye on that one. We could definitely see if the market starts going up, we could see it bounce back and get into the high 30s, maybe 40s with this actually closed finally, because they had some issues trying to get people to actually vote. If we see that, it's dropped about 25%, but you have to realize if it's 30 now and it jumps up to 40, that means that it would actually go up 33%. So that's something to take a look at too. I still think it's a good value where it is now. Now I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about though. I've been rambling for about 12 minutes here. So people are saying hello. Appreciate you guys all. I mean, so many people have been nice about saying appreciate like all of my updates and messages. I've just been trying to help calm the storm. With anything like this, there are people that are really nice that want to reach out. I feel like I'm one of those people too, when like I see other YouTubers or something having a tough time, like with Jack and the Workhorse thing. Like I just wanted to reach out to make sure he was doing all right and stuff. And yeah, I really appreciate when you guys do that too, especially just saying stuff like that. Like, thanks for giving updates and stuff like that. I just try to make sure everyone's calm and rational, because we have people of all different, ages, different countries, all different people in different markets, all people with different types of media exposure. We have people with all different experience levels. And I want to make sure that like some of the people that have been investing for a while probably don't need me to tell them, hey, like probably isn't a good idea to sell out of all your stocks and go all cash. Or, maybe your experience and you did do that, but like trying to time the market usually doesn't work real well. And I just try to like help some of the newer investors realize some of that stuff. Like it's not the end of the world if the market goes down 10%. If you're looking long term, it's not a big deal, especially if you didn't put money in that you couldn't lose. Like I had someone reach out to me and say that they needed the money, like $5,000 that they put into stocks, and now it's down 500, and they need it for bills and stuff. I'm like, oh man, that's tough because hopefully people don't do that. Like if you're looking short term and you're trying to turn $5,000 into 6,000, but you need the 5,000 here soon, that's going to be a rough situation a lot of the time. I mean, not over the last 6 months, but I mean, even September we saw a correction. Last March, obviously, huge down month. February too, last year. This last week has been tough. So I'm just trying to help everyone weather the storm and keep a head on their shoulders because of the fact that so many people are newer and they don't necessarily understand all that. The contract with NASA was worth $8 million, I believe. That's what I read. How hard do I think the markets will rebound on Mondays with the stimulus news? So hopefully that goes through the Senate. So if you didn't see, that was approved last night. It was actually pretty close in the House. I think that the markets will rebound. I mean, $1.9 trillion, not all of it's going into the market, obviously, but $1.9 trillion printed again, I think will probably cause, I mean, who knows if it actually stays and stops what's going on right now. But I think there's going to be a lot of money that moves into the market, a lot of people getting stimulus checks that just don't have any use for $1,400. So they'll just throw it at whatever stock, especially with like the new YOLO community of investors. They'll be looking for high growth plays, which I think will help us. I don't know how many people that like in terms of the people that will actually invest this $1,400. I don't know how many are going to go throw it in like Walgreens or JP Morgan Chase. I'm assuming a lot of the people that will be investing for like the first time or maybe have invested a little bit will probably be trying to take higher risks in buying whatever's hot. So that's something to keep into account. I think it will probably rebound. I think this definitely helps, but who knows? I mean, who would have guessed that the fact that the pandemic is kind of clearing up would have caused the stock market to actually go down? I don't think a lot of people would have assumed that would happen. And of course, there's a couple things in between, but that would kind of seem like what was happening a little bit. Do you think it's better to sell on a day of a catalyst where the stock will rise a lot, or wait for it to cool off before buying it again? I think it's tough to know. I mean, if there's a clear-cut answer, everyone would be doing it, and then it probably wouldn't even work, because then there would be people not doing it just so that they didn't get stuck in the same trap. I think it depends on, and again, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I think it depends how big the catalyst is. Like if it's something like I don't want to say even like a contract, if it's something that you think is good, but it's more flashy than anything, like I don't even know if I could or I don't know if I could make something up, but if you think it's something that won't really matter long term, versus like maybe it's some strategic partnership where the companies are going to work synergetically together, I think buying then would make more sense. If you think, okay, this is going to be a good long-term play, this is going to be a long-term catalyst, as opposed to something that's really short-term and then people are going to sell it. I think that's kind of how I view it. If it's something that like it's such an important event or milestone or something, I think of it a lot of the time more with with people selling, right? Is bad news that comes out, is it really important? Like I think in the last year, Facebook had those political issues with different companies, and people said they're going to pull ads. Like that's short term. People are or businesses are going to come back and put ads in because it's just a good play. It's a good smart business decision. Like you can make a short term decision to not do it because of politics, but no one cares about politics right now. Like, I mean, people do, but like it's not going to be a big issue. I probably spent a long enough time on that question. Sorry. But how do you always time the stock so well? I don't know if I always time the stock so well. Like I bought a couple stocks this week that went down a decent amount, or like last week. But I think the fact that I'm in the market like all the time, like this is my job. Part of it is to make videos, and then part of it's to actually research. But that's a lot of it. I think market timing is easier when you're doing it all day and you hear a lot of people talking about different stocks. And I think like trying to time the whole market is really tough, but like you can get in and out of stocks, some stocks pretty well, like on different catalysts. Like if some SPAC is announced and you see that's in a growing sector, or something that maybe Kathy Wood would invest in, or something, or it's got good fundamentals, you can usually get in the first day, or like a lot of the time with the SPACs recently, they've jumped up and then come back down throughout the first day. And then sometimes that's a good time to buy in after that, because then maybe it goes from like 15 back down to 13.50. And that's pretty good. Can you give us an instigator of what to expect this week with the vote of the stimulus check? If it passes the Senate, I think it will probably send the stock market up. Even the anticipation of it, I think, will probably send it up. I think it will be good for the stock market, though. I mean, more money pumped is a good thing, because people pulled money out this week, obviously, but they're going to put it back in if they think they're coming catalysts. You want to talk about Workhorse? Yeah, so Workhorse was rough this week. A lot of people jumped out of it. A lot of people thought that they were going to get the USPS contract. Some people still think it's going to happen, but overall, it's pretty risky now, I think, if you're investing. in Workhorse, because if they have a bad Q4, they're going to announce results here soon. If they have a bad Q4 where they weren't able to deliver many vehicles, that could be bad. That could be a bloodbath, I think, for the stock. But I could be wrong. Maybe they delivered a couple hundred vehicles, and this was the first good quarter that they had. They delivered 7 last quarter. Maybe people are like, okay, now it's the time to get back in because they're going to ride it up. They have some contracts already, but unless they start delivering, I'm not going to pay attention. Or I'll pay attention, but I'm not going to buy or anything like that. Oh, Nada says insight. Yep. That's just my insight with the stimulus check information. Would buying bond ETFs such as TMF and ICVT help to protect against a possible market collapse? Yeah, so I haven't looked at those bond ETFs. I don't have any bonds. Honestly, I'm not really interested in bonds because they pay such a low amount and they don't appreciate as quickly. So yeah, like if you're really wanting to protect against it, you're going to give up some upside. Like if you're looking over 30 years, you probably won't do as well with bonds right now. Even if it protects you from a market collapse, and that's just my opinion. And there are different risks with everything. And like I talk about BlockFi a lot, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but I would much rather put money in BlockFi that literally like their APY for stablecoin, which doesn't fluctuate in price, is 8.6%. I'd much more likely put a small amount in there than I would in bonds. And of course, like there are risks and everything. I'm not a financial advisor and everything. But I've heard some good things about BlockFi and the way that they're going, like maybe going public soon. So like some people talk about the risks of BlockFi. I don't think they're that high. And sorry, I'm messing with my hair. It looks funky today, but I don't think the risks are that high for 8.6%. Just in my opinion. So I think when I stop saving so much for a house, that will be like my bond portion, because it's just going to be sitting in cash for opportunities and it pays interest. Now the BlockFi platform is probably not the best if you want to buy and sell all the time, because you get like one free withdrawal a month in the different cryptocurrencies. I don't know if there's even a limit for stablecoin, but like Bitcoin and Ethereum, you get one free one and then you have to pay a little bit after that. So it's not the best if you're trying to buy and sell all the time, but if you're just trying to buy over time and then maybe you sell out at one point or another, I think that's actually a great place. GME, yeah, I'm not a big fan of GME, of trying to like ride that. I think a lot of people got stuck holding the bag, and then a lot of people tried to sell out when it started to fall down, and a lot of people actually lost money. Some people made a ton of money, but if you're looking at it after it already is moving up big, it's probably a little bit late, but I could be wrong. A lot of people got in and stayed in and made a lot of money. So like if you know how to ride that, great. But if you're someone that maybe is newer to the market, might be hard to navigate a little bit. What does this mean the floor was on Friday? I don't know if I said that. I don't think I said that. But if people are saying that, then they're saying like that's the bottom that the market hit. Maybe I said that with SBE, like the floor at a certain point. I don't know, but that just means like the bottom of where it's going to go or where it was or something. What about Clove or ARO or IRO? I've looked at AYRO. I looked at it when Denside was, before he did his video. Like I heard that he was looking at it, so I took a look at it. It was already up, like I don't know. He told his private group, like the higher tier of it, about the fact that he was buying it or looked into it or something. And at that point, it had already jumped so much, him just telling them that. So I wanted to do my due diligence. Maybe down the line if it falls, and I haven't looked at it this week. I don't know if it's fallen a lot this week, but I might be interested down the line in that. There's just a lot of money in EV, but it's a totally different player. If you guys don't know, they make like the trucks that you see at universities. They make those like pickup trucks that are kind of like, they're like golf carts almost, but trucks. Clove I haven't looked at in a little bit. I held it, I believe, a couple months ago for a little bit, but then I sold out. Strongman, Sam, you might not know the answer right now. How would you protect your money with how the government just keeps printing money and handing it out? So that goes back to like cryptocurrency. right? So there are a couple different ways, I should say, to protect it. One way is to put your money in assets that appreciate. That's why the market has gone up so much. People are worried that the government's going to keep on printing money and they need to put it somewhere. So they put it in the stock market because it actually goes up as opposed to just being devalued like cash. The other thing is, if you want it pretty much in cash, that's where I was talking about stablecoin, right? Stablecoin doesn't fluctuate in price like GUSD. Stablecoin is tied to something like GUSD is Gemini. It's a really large company and it's tied to the US dollar. It doesn't fluctuate in price as the value of the US dollar. And that's what I was saying with BlockFi. There's a link down there below. But I have most of my money, like almost all of my liquid money in BlockFi in that stable coin because it pays 8.6%. So that's another strategy. Otherwise, you can put it in crypto. A lot of people are doing that just in like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but you have to actually like that over the long term, and you have to realize the pros and cons of it. So I'm not gonna say that you should put all your money in Bitcoin or anything like that because who knows what will happen. But those are the strategies other people are making, and I'm gonna answer these probably a little bit quicker here, the last couple, because I told everyone at 1 o'clock I would put them in here. So what do I think about Sens? I like it long term. I haven't picked up more just because my cost basis is like $1.60. And right now it's still at like $3.40 or something. Gilbert, you're welcome. I'm not very familiar with warrants, but when is it better to buy warrants or the stock itself? So I covered that in my video this week. I think I talked about it with ARAC, kind of giving a background on warrants. So I would watch that video. It's towards the end of the video, but warrants are like a riskier version of buying the stock, and it gives you the right to buy a stock at a certain price. So I'm making it really short. I'm like not doing it justice what it means, but I'd watch that video. Warrants perform very well if you think the stock is going to dramatically increase, but they're riskier. What's my prediction for the NASDAQ, SPX in the coming week? So NASDAQ, it's hard to know. I mean, anytime you're talking about like a week, no one knows. But I think the stimulus will probably push it up. If I had to give like a split on whether I thought it was going to go up or down, I'd say like 70 to 75%. I think it's going to go up. But who knows if we see that or not. Did you see Dumb Money Channels recommended on Leslie Pool Supplies? I haven't seen that. I watch Dumb Money sometimes, but I don't watch them all the time just because they produce a lot of content and I don't have time to watch, everything. But yeah, I like what they do. They're social arb investing. Some of them are a little bit risky, but I like what they do in general. I haven't looked into ZOM since my one video on it a while ago. Sorry. Gilbert, any insights on PPD? I've not looked into that one. I haven't even had anyone reach out to me about that one, actually. A contract research organization. They have over 4.6 billion in revenue, though. Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't looked into that one at all. It's down at like 2-week lows. Something. It's been sitting around the same price, I guess, for 6 months. Right in between like 30 and 38. 32 and 38. I don't know. I haven't looked into that one. Sorry. You are welcome. What do I think that? What do you think for the next 3 months for SPACs? Let me hold on to that for a second. I just want to share this with everyone, and then I'll answer it. 1 second, and I'm gonna stay on for like another 15 minutes or so if you guys want to stay on while like other people come in. I think overall, though, it's hard to tell where SPACs will go. I know some people are saying like the SPAC craze is over. I don't know about that. I think a lot of people like the downside risk protection that SPACs have. And you can't really find that in a lot of other places in the market. When I heard about it, I felt like it was a steal. Like it felt illegal or something that they could have downside protection like that. But maybe that's something that changes. I don't know if they'll change that so that maybe specs, okay, they put them at $10, but they can fall or you can't call up your broker or something like that. I don't know though if less people would invest in it then. So 1 second. Okay. Just putting this in the Discord now, and then I'm going to throw it on Patreon, and then we should be all good. How are you guys doing, though? I know it's been a rough week. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the weekend. I know I haven't really had too much time to relax. Last night I relaxed a little bit, just like hung out and stuff. But today I had some videos to make and stuff. But hopefully you guys are able to take off a little bit and relax. I know a lot of people were very stressed. A lot of people lost a lot more money than I did this week because they have much larger portfolios. So okay, just putting this in here and then we're good. Sweet. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so that's kind of my thought on SPACs. It's hard to know. I think it's going to depend on if they change anything to like how SPACs work or not. Welcome to everyone new. We've been doing this for half an hour just with one of the Patreon tiers. Like that's included in one of the Patreon tiers. So wanted to include you guys all though too, because it's been a really tough week in the market, I know. So wanted to answer some of your questions. This is only going to be for like 10, 15 minutes just because I have somewhere that I have to go after this. But I wanted to include you guys, make sure everyone's feeling okay. Like with all things considered, it was a red week, but not every week can be green. But I know for some younger investors, for some newer investors, it's tough to see. Skills. Yeah. So this is a company that I looked at really heavy, but it went up so quickly. I like it long term. I should probably reevaluate it now. I think it fell a decent amount this week. Miguel, what's up? Late to the party. Anything good I missed out on? So if you guys want to scroll back, maybe after the video is done, like you'll be able to see this. I'll probably put this live after this is done, or not live. I'll probably put this public after it's done, so other people that just followed the second channel can see it. But if you guys want to scroll back, I talked about like different stocks. This is a video that I'll put up tomorrow. Different stocks that have catalysts that I think could do really well, and kind of went through about 5 or 6 of them. But yeah, I think a lot of them have some nice catalysts coming, or just went up like late last week and people just didn't notice, or like had new partnerships and stuff. Any insights on Neo? So I think they have their, was it their Q? Well, it might be their February deliveries. They have something coming up this week where I think, Neo's getting to a low valuation comparatively to where it was before. Let me pull it up here. They fell down a good amount over the last couple of weeks. Like they're down at 47. They were at 46. On the 1 month, this is by far the lowest that they've been. We saw them hit 40 in mid-December. I picked up some shares. I think I sold them since then. Yeah, I sold them a couple weeks ago, but this is, except for December 14-ish, like around there, this is the lowest we've seen since early November. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting valuation if you like the company. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of money in the EV sector. NIO's like one of the highest valued car companies in the world, and they do not produce nearly as many vehicles. So it depends on your whole thoughts in the sector in general. One of my coworkers has an account. They said that they recommended RGLS. I haven't looked into that either. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming Jim Cramer Group probably recommends a lot of stocks. I know that he's had some very strong thoughts on some stocks that we've talked about, either positive or negative. So yeah, I haven't looked into that one though. Do I have any information on SOS and what's the controversy around it? So SOS is, I believe a lot of people thought they did something fraudulent. I haven't really paid attention to it too much though, honestly. Like, I know some people invested in it. I never did a video on it. I think I said at one point that a lot of people are talking about it, but I wasn't buying it because of some like warning signs I saw in it, just some stuff that I didn't really like, but I haven't covered it or really paid attention to it too closely, except for the fact that I know a lot of people are worried about it, but I haven't looked into it. I don't know if there's a good way to validate what they're saying. Like with a lot of these short seller reports, like how am I going to know if a company really did lie about something? I'm not on the inside. I'm not someone that's going to spend, 30 hours like investigating them, or I can't like get a hold of their documents or anything. So it's tough when you're an investor trying to weigh that. Opinion on SFTW now. I think it's a really good value. I've been picking up shares all week. Let me just see what it's in at now. It's in at $12. I was excited about this company at 15, 16. Sorry. I know Dead Inside has done a couple videos on it too. Now we were in before him. Now maybe he bought it like without telling people about it at first, but we bought in, I want to say at, I don't know, we bought in early on, like I think the day of or something. And yeah, he's saying it's a $20 stock. It's hard to put a value on it, but I like it overall. I think it's a great company if you're looking to get into the space sector. I like them, and I like Hol, HOL, and that's Astra that's going to merge with them. Heavy into STPK now, CCIV, AYRO, NPA. Yeah, that's tough if you're, I don't know what ARO or AYRO is sitting at right now, but that's just tough, the timing of that, because it looks like you're probably down on everything. But I like STPK. I like it long term. I like CCIV. It's going to be long term, right? And it is risky. NPA, I like, but that's also a very risky stock. Like it's just a space sector SPAC, so I like it, but yeah, I don't know. AYRO too. I was interested in that one, but it moved so quickly when Dead Inside talked about it. I didn't want to buy it at that point. Austin says, "What's up? How's it going?" Our AAC target price pre-merger. It's hard to tell because of everything that's happening right now. It's not as sexy, right? It's not like something that's going to draw people's attention like Bitcoin mining or EV or something, but I think it's going to be like a real company after the merger. Strongman says 270 to 150. There's blood everywhere. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm assuming you're talking about how much money you had in the market. Yeah, it's tough. Like the SPAC and biotech sector got hit the hardest, which is what I've been investing a lot in, but at the same time, trying to diversify. So a lot of the SPACs we've been picking up around 14, 13, 15, somewhere in there. So it's not as bad if it falls to 12, but yeah, it still hurts, especially if you can't put more money in, like some people can't. Any thoughts on AGTC or the genetic sector? I still like the sector long term. With AGTC, there are just some catalysts coming up for it. With a lot of the biotech sector, well, I guess it depends. So there's like the biotech, and then there's also pharma. Some of the pharma or some of the companies that have trials, they're just like some hit or miss catalysts for them. Those are a little bit higher risk. With some of the other biotech like Sens, I guess Sens, if you're talking about like the FDA approval, or like BNGO, like they are already in the right position. They just need to like scale up and, have some more good press and stuff like that. So I like it long term. It just might get hit hard. If it gets hit hard with any of those penny stocks or even AGTC, it was a little bit above a penny stock. Like I think that making sure you diversify and don't get pulled in. Like I was almost starting to get pulled into wanting to invest like more than I don't want to say more than I was comfortable with, because I was comfortable with it at the time, but like significantly increasing the amount that I put into some of these penny stocks. But I think it's a good reminder with these corrections, like, okay, I still want to put in about the same amount. I've been putting in small amounts just because they are higher risk, but I like them long term. I wouldn't put like 10% of my portfolio or anything in any of those, but like in any specifically, but yeah, I like them. Why do I hardly invest anything into the markets? Just because you usually buy a few $100s at a time. Yeah, so it depends what it is, right? So like Lewis, if it's a penny stock, I might only invest a couple $100s because I realize it's high risk. Like my portfolio right now, in the stock market. So I have a little bit of money in crypto too. I have maybe 20,000 now, 25,000, something like that in crypto. But in the stock market, I have maybe 100K. I'm making a lot a month, but I'm saving for a house mostly. So I'm not putting in like 10K every couple weeks or something into the stock market, because I'm like I said, I have to buy my house all in cash because of my new job. I can't get a mortgage because it's too new. The income's too new. So once I pay for that in like a month or two, maybe, I don't know when I'll buy it, then I'll put more money in the market. But I want to diversify. Like I'm not going to put 5% of my portfolio in a penny stock, even if I feel strongly about it, because it's too risky for my own for my preferences. Like that would have been great if I had BNGO and it went up, it went up like 700, 800% at this point. It was up like 1100% at one point, but that would have been great if I put 10% of my portfolio in it. But I don't think I could personally deal with that, because who knows, I could put into something else that did really poorly. Like if I put 10K into COUV and that was 10% of my portfolio, that would suck. I know that's just something that I'm not willing to do. But with some of the stocks too, like some of the SPACs I feel strongly about, or they're just not risky because of the price that they're at, I'll put in like a couple grand maybe. And I don't sell very often either. Like I trim some positions, I trim some of them, and I did that more in the last couple weeks than I've ever done. But a lot of the time I'm not selling stocks, so I'm just putting in new money. Finance, good to see you. Appreciate you coming by. R keeps buying the Palantir dips. Yeah, I think that Palantir is a good price right now. If you're looking long term, of course, because again, you don't know what's going to happen short term. But I really like Palantir long term. I wanted to buy for a while, and it just wasn't low enough. I've been buying over the last week. How's it going? Good to see you. We saw CCIV strong support around 26.27. Plus, Dave made a 500K investment with the market ending nicely on Friday. Is it a good time to buy around 30 to 31? No, you're good for asking another question. The whole point of this is to ask questions. So, yeah, I mean, it depends, right? If you're someone that feels strongly about it, and I go back to this because I'm not much of a technical trader. Like I understand support lines and stuff, but I'm not basing my investing based off that most of the time. Like I'll take it into account. But yeah, if you feel strongly about the company, right? So if you like it and realize, okay, let's say it falls to 25, 24, are you going to hold on? Or are you going to try to get out? Or how are you going to feel about that? I like it longer term. That's why I hold 70% of what I initially invested. I just sold on my cost basis before it fell a good amount. Like I think I sold in the 50s, just my cost basis to get that back. And I'm holding on to the rest of it. How's it going? Good to see you. Thoughts on SOS? I kind of covered that earlier. I never want to buy in just because of some of the warning signs. Like I told you guys about it, that like I didn't make a video on it or anything, but I said a lot of people are talking about this. It's a company that a lot of people really like, but there are a couple of things that I don't like about it. So I'm just going to sit it out. But I don't really know everything that's happening with it. I just know that there's some people talking about fraud. I just hit on that. ACIC, talked about that one earlier. It got a lot of buyers after market on Friday. It went up like 9% for you guys that don't know, 8.5 to 9% after a down day. And ARK Invest bought 600,000 shares worth. I like it, but it is a riskier play with what they're trying to do. There's another stock. I updated you guys about it at the end of last week, I want to say. No, at the beginning of last week. That's another company that's like it. That's a SPAC that's going public. And I told you guys why I didn't like that one as much. But there are other plays out there too if that one gets too expensive. I heard of someone that's an early investor in that one, and they really like it. Like an angel investor. When I do my personal research, I find that some SPACs that I think are really promising, but they just sit there. What makes a SPAC move so fast when the actual valuation isn't changing much? I'm not sure what you mean by when the actual valuation isn't changing much, because if a SPAC moves up, the valuation on the company moves up, essentially, because you're buying the same percentage, but you're buying it for a higher price. So what makes a move though? I think it depends on the industry. It depends on the coverage. It depends not really too much on the valuation. Sure, if like a SPAC came out and they were a company that was 10 years from or 4 years from revenue and they were selling for $10 billion or something, that would be a hard sell. But if you have like a $1 billion company versus a $2 billion company, like I don't know how well they actually are able to calculate their revenue. So that's something to keep in mind. A lot of the time, I think they're doing it based on addressable market and other stuff, but who knows, like when they're looking at 2025, who knows whether they're going to have 2 billion in revenue or, 500 million. I think that's hard to tell 5 years out, but I think it depends on the sector. It depends on the coverage, stuff like that. Am I still bullish on NNDM? So I think I was pretty clear on it. I never bought NNDM just because like I've covered it, right? I told you guys that like at certain times I thought it was going to move up or move down, but I thought it was going to move down or move up based on what was happening, not based on the company. Like I've been cautious about it in every video. I think I've talked about NNDM. I said that I wasn't buying it just because they don't have much behind them. Like they haven't had sales, and I saw Meet Kevin's video on it. I think he did a good job of explaining it. Like they don't have an end consumer at this point. I think they're a little bit ahead of their time, but it just got inflated a lot. But they do have a lot of cash, right? So like it can't fall down. It shouldn't fall down 80% or something because like half of their market cap, over half of it, is cash right now. I think they have $1.5 billion in cash. Let's look. They're at 2.5 billion market cap, and they have cash value of 1.5 billion or something. So I don't think it can fall down a ton, but who knows? Maybe long term it's going to do well. I think if the market goes up, it will probably go up, but I'm not willing to buy it just because of the things I talked about. Let's see. I already hit on CCIV and kind of talked about that a couple minutes ago. What about Bitcoin? You think it will go back up soon? Yeah, I think it tracks with the market. And sorry guys, I have to get off here. I'm like 15 minutes behind. There are a lot of comments there really quickly. I think it tracks with the market, but I like it long term. I'll try to fly through these for a second. Neo has earnings report this week. Yes, good call. I know that they had deliveries, but I couldn't remember if they had earnings. I haven't covered IDEX that quickly or that much. SBE, I did a video on yesterday. How much dry money do you recommend keeping as a percentage of account value? I did the video on the market crash and people hated on me for it, but I said 10 to 20%. I really like, and for everyone that was on the live stream before, I apologize for this, but there's a link down below to BlockFi. I will keep a lot of my cash that I'm sitting on the sidelines in BlockFi in stablecoin. And I can't tell you some of why I'm so excited about BlockFi because I think some of it is information I can't give out. Just like I like the company in general. I use them. That's all stuff that I've said. But I feel very safe with them because of what they're doing on the inside. And again, I don't know if I can say that stuff. I think it will probably come out this month, kind of or probably this year, what they're planning to do. But something where I don't think they want to do anything bad because of what they're planning to do. I think they want to keep on gaining revenue. Because that will help them down the line with something that they're trying to do. What else do we have? Life MD. I like it long term. Nothing changed on the company this week. That's the same thing with a lot of these companies. Like people are freaked out, but they're the same company. They're just at a cheaper price. I heard someone say that in an interesting way this week, and I've heard it before, but it was good to remember. Like anything else in life, if you hear the price went down, you're excited about it or you don't care. Like there's a sale, you're excited. But if there's a sale on stock, you're not excited generally. So that's just something that I think is interesting. Do I think the market will be down even more? It's really hard to tell, but the stimulus should help because the stimulus package was passed by the House. It still has to go to the Senate. I have not looked at ADA. I am staying long for a while on GHVI. If it goes to stupid valuations, just like any stock, I'll probably sell it, but I like it long term. I have not looked at IDEX that quick or that much, actually. Michael, I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know I have to skip some of these here just because like I said, it was going to be like 10, 15 minutes, but you guys are too much fun to stay around. Some of these I just haven't looked at. Some of these FSR. Yeah, I didn't see why it was going up so much. OMID, I talked about COUV in the Patreon and the Discord a couple times, so you can take a look at those with me explaining it. I've explained over the last couple weeks when it got taken down and then put back up. But some brokers just aren't letting you buy it or sell it at this point. Same thing, Barbara. CCIV, keep loading up while cheap. I think that depends on you and your long-term view on it. Is SENS a hold? Yes, definitely for me, it's a hold. I'm not trying to sell out of a bunch of stocks because I think the market's going to fall down or anything like that. Like, I'm not saying that I think the market is going to fall down, but I'm not trying to sell out of things like that because I like them long-term. If I like them long-term, I'm holding them. What percentage amount need to put sector-wise in stocks? I'm not sure I know exactly what you're talking about, but I would diversify within the sectors. Mine are a little bit heavy in biotech, honestly, right now. And I'm trying to think of what else I'm heavy in. Probably biotech for the most part, and then SPACs in general, but I don't know if you count that as a sector technically. RKT. Yeah, so I saw that they had earnings the other day, but I didn't pay attention to them too much because I'm not invested. How many different stocks do I own? Probably, I haven't looked recently because I hold them in a couple different portfolios. Some of them I hold in multiple portfolios though, just based on like tax advantage versus non-tax advantage and where I have some extra cash. But I probably hold 50-ish. Okay, so they had good earnings and a dividend. Yeah, so I heard that they were going to do a dividend, but yeah, interesting. Just a lot of people don't really care about mortgage stocks right now, or mortgage brokers. Okay. What do I think about IPOD and IPOF? I think if you're looking for a good set of specs like those IPO stocks, like IPOD, IPOF, typically are good. I don't remember exactly what those ones are merging with off the top of my head, though. Okay. If you guys have more questions about this, or about different stocks, you can probably go back further in the video because I covered a lot of these earlier. Golden Nuggets one that I haven't really talked about, but I also haven't really looked at it super in depth. But like AGTC, I talked about earlier, CCIV, COUV, all those, CSPH or CPSH. I looked into that one, but honestly, I haven't been paying attention to it as much. I saw that it was dropping this week, but everything dropped. So I should probably reevaluate them at the price that they're at now. There are just so many companies that you have to reevaluate at their price target or at their prices now. And it happens so quickly that it's hard to keep an eye on everything that happened. But I appreciate you guys watching. Again, if you want to see like further back in the video, you can take a look at it. I'll make this public for everyone. But I appreciate it, guys. I hope you guys are feeling okay after the week. Hopefully we'll see either more green or more red so that we can pick up some more shares, or it goes green. If it goes red, guys, unless you're retiring this week, it's not a big deal. Stocks will recover at some point, even if we went down significantly. At some point, they will return. So that's just kind of what I think. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good weekend.